Hello, everyone. Welcome to the BFL show. As you know, I'm John, Steel Reserves, along with
Mike McQueen.
we are here to celebrate and discuss our draft, featuring all the information that you need based on the 17th season of the BFL draft.
All you need and some you don't.
Probably a lot that you don't, but you're going to get. We'll go through some likes and dislikes from each team, kind of break things down, and then we'll get into some nitty gritty of what we think is going to happen this NFL season. Can't wait to get started.
I love football, John. I'm glad it's back. There's a chill in the air. It feels good. Last year, we started off by talking about the Khalil Mack trade, which is absolutely huge, and he was everything that the Bears hoped for. And we also talked about Jerick McKinnon going on IR. And is it deja vu because Jerick McKinnon just went on IR again? Terrible for that to happen to a talented player. Could be the end of his career.
Why am I smiling? Maybe because I took Tevin Coleman in the third round. Sorry, Jerick. Big fan of your work in Minnesota as a trendy sleeper pick. Moving on, some bad luck to talk about. Andrew Luck. Yeah, thanks. Sad trombone. Andrew Luck. Sorry, Dom. It had to happen. I was literally at the grocery store pushing a cart when you texted. That's how I found out on the group text. Keep that coming. Keep doing those things. But stop drafting players and either trading them to Drew for below value or losing them for their entire career. We're glad you're playing though. You had an awesome draft. We'll talk about that soon.
It's terrible for the NFL to lose such a great player, the highest rated quarterback to come out of college ever, and he was living up to it. Good for him. Good decision. I absolutely feel horrible the way it ended for him being booed off the field. That's sad to me. Really sad. And then the other probably huge news on the field and off would be looks like Zeke Elliott's all but a done deal. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed yet, but looks like so.
Tried to get in touch with Nate for his comments on that, but I think he's just like at a party somewhere, just wasted, just dancing. He was too busy, like celebrating with beers in his hand.
Yeah, I heard just glass clanging, empty bottles.
But good for you, Nate. Good for you. I count probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 teams that probably would have been really happy right now, but you're the happy man. So. Yeah. You do that celebrating, dude. Well done. Tip of the cap to you.
All right. Let's go into it. We're gonna talk about our likes and dislikes, not necessarily liking the player, disliking the player. Just basically value for where they were taken in the draft. Whether late in the round or later in the draft or too early, and we'll clarify some of that. Obviously, there's some good players on the list that are going to be on both sides of it. We're just going to go in draft order. Which first pick actually went to Goody, but it was Withers Winners franchise Ryan, who was on the first slot. So we'll go there. And for my I went with Keenan Allen, who was part of the big trade. He traded the first overall pick. Got a first, second, and fourth out of it. Just the whole overall trade. But to me, that was the guy because there's no way he gets Keenan Allen at the end of the second round without making that trade. Keenan Allen is Phillip Rivers' favorite target. He's maybe the best route runner in the league, right up there with guys like Devontae Adams. When healthy, he's shown he's a top potential 5 guy, easily 10. Going to get a lot of targets. And, so that's a guy he definitely would not have gotten with the first pick. So to see his first the picks that he used in that trade, I think it worked out well for both teams. What do you think?
What a couple of big moves by Ryan there to start the draft. You can't ever peg down what Ryan McQueen's going to do. If you recall, about 2 weeks before the draft, he had 2 second-round picks, which he flipped one of them to me. And I actually think that was a great move by him because he solidified. He acquired Aaron Jones, who I think is going to have a pretty big year. So I have that listed down as a like. I know it's not a draft like, but it was a draft move.
For sure.
My favorite pick from Ryan came in the 4th round. I like his pick of Evan Ingram. If you missed out on the top 3 tight ends, I think Ingram's gonna have a really nice year. I also really like Jameis Winston, how late he got him. That's going to be a recurring theme in my comments. I think paired up with Bruce Arians, Jameis is going to ball out. And just to wrap up my likes with Ryan's, he went heavy on the passing game with Arizona with Andy Isabella and Christian Kirk. Kirk was a guy who I was trying to target in like the 11th or 12th round. This is not putting that pick down at all because I hadn't crossed him off because I was lazy or daydreaming. And Ryan already had him, and I was pretty disappointed because he was a guy I was hoping would fall to me.
Yeah, I actually had Christian Kirk listed as well too in the 6th round. There's a lot of potential there. I'll move on to a dislike. There's a lot of good late quarterback value. You even talked about Jameis Winston. So for me, Deshaun Watson in the 3rd round, 3.1, first pick of the 3rd round, 25th overall, was a little bit early for me. I know he was on the championship winning team in this league last year. Get that he's a really good player. I just feel like there's other value to be had at that slot. That's too early for a quarterback for me. That's not Mahomes or Rodgers, who both of those guys were keepers. So if maybe top quarterback available, but not for me.
My dislike, hold on, man. You're going to be really disappointed in me.
Okay.
DJ Moore. And at the time of the pick, I don't think Cam was healthy. And DJ's battling Curtis Samuel for targets this year. I think Samuel's the guy that you want, especially at the value you could have gotten him at. Nothing wrong with DJ. I really like him as a player. He was just kind of on my I'm not taking him this year list. Yeah, so kind of and I don't right exactly. I don't think you're relying on him for an every week starter. But
you had 3 4th round picks. So, there you go. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else on Ryan's draft?
It's solid overall. But yeah, just to me, like I said, a lot of quarterbacks went late that you could get similar production. So Deshaun was a guy for me.
Cool. Right in. Moving on. Let's talk about Dom. Loved seeing Dom at the draft. He always had his pick ready. We were never waiting on him. So well done, Dom. He was kind of by the book right away with Christian McCaffrey. Had to do it. My favorite pick, kind of like Ryan, he went tight end in the 4th round. Evan Ingram, and then Hunter Henry was the guy I really like and who he took. Really quick, the other guy I like is D.D. Westbrook in the 10th. I think he'll be in consideration for a keeper. He's going to have an awesome year with Nick Foles.
D.D. Westbrook is where I went. I just wrote down one for him. McCaffrey's one of my favorite players. Not a Packer. I took him in the 1st round as a rookie. That's how strongly I feel about him. D.D. Westbrook for sure. 10th round, which was a pick he acquired in a trade. Maximized value to me. Foles is going to do a better job than Bortles, definitely. And I feel like he's probably the number 1 target there.
They have a pretty phenomenal connection in the preseason, so a lot of big things from Dede. Just honestly, I'm gonna have trouble all show with the negatives.
Yeah,
Dom, I'm having trouble finding like I hate this pick kind of deal. You let me be super nitpicky. You went with Daniil Hunter in the 14th. It's just a personal thing. I don't like to rely on like sacks, and he like relies on sacks for his stats accumulations. So I think his values there. Like he's a guy who will get like I could be totally wrong, but he's a guy who I feel like is like getting like 2 or 3 sacks in a game and then kind of disappears for a couple of weeks. I prefer like tacklers to accumulate points, but one way to go about setting up a team is like I'm gonna try and hit home runs with certain guys. And they might all hit a home run in the same week, or they could all, be quiet for a week. So that makes me nervous.
Yeah, to me, there was a lot of hard picks in the negative. I mentioned to you before we started that I have a lot of big name players. Deshaun Watson would fall in that category. To me, right now, Aaron Donald, obviously a transcendent talent. Maybe change the way that people look at defensive tackles now. Defensive player of the year, 2-3 years in a row now. It's crazy. But to me, in that spot, first keeper pick, I think there is where you go for the guy with the big potential. And to me, I think he really could have went where the next guy went, taking TJ Hawkinson. That's a guy that Detroit's going to want to force feed the ball and could potentially be like a keeper for 10 years, where Donald's already in his prime, maybe on the downfall here in the next couple of years. So with the first keeper pick, I think he still would have been there if he wanted to get him back there. But Hawkinson was that like last kind of the top picks in the draft where you could maybe take with your keeper and start to build around. Um, Obviously, didn't know at the time that Luck wouldn't be on his team, but he's already got to replace one keeper. That could have been there right there for me. So it was more of who was available, not necessarily the player itself. Anything to add about Dom?
Nothing to add.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Sorry, man. Wish you well.
So, speaking of luck, let's move over to Luck My Balls. That would be Drew. And his like for me, and this was there's a lot to like as far as like picks there. Gurley obviously is a big risk depending on his health, but if he's the guy, then obviously that's you have to. He was the consensus number one last year. To get him at 3 is not bad. But to me, I went Kareem Hunt in the 5th, and I know that may seem like a stretch, but here's a guy who will come in with fresh legs halfway through the year for the stretch run. If Drew's in it, great. That just makes him even more stronger. If not, somebody will want that guy. I know they like Nick Chubb there, but he's definitely going to get the ball. And I think that's going to take Cleveland's offense even further, and you'll see him score some touchdowns. So I actually went with Kareem Hunt for the slow play as the potential steal of his draft in the 5th round.
Here's proof that we don't do any rehearsing because I have Kareem Hunt as my dislike. Dude, you're gonna sit on him for 8 weeks? No, that's too stressful to me to have like a guy I can't use for that long on my bench. That makes me nervous. My pick that I liked from you was your first keeper pick, which actually happened in the 9th round. The Devin Bush pick. He's gonna be a tackle machine. That was awesome. I was hoping I had him circled to take him one pick later on my keeper pick. So I really like that choice of I like the idea of getting a young IDP tackle machine. That was one of my goals going into this year that I did not accomplish. So I was pretty bummed when you took him right from under my feet. So well done, Drew.
For my dislike in last year, for my dislike for him, I said it was Mahomes. Obviously, but at the time, that was his 4th quarterback on the team. Keeping Mahomes now, who's clearly the number one, then you draft Drew Brees in the 6th. I don't see any scenario where you start Brees over Mahomes unless it's you want to get nitpicky and play matchups, I guess. But to draft a guy there in the 6th round who you'll probably start one time for a bye week seems a little silly to me. Maybe you can say same thing about because you said obviously I know you're sitting on Kareem Hunt. Maybe you're going to sit on him. I don't know. So I went Breeze there. I don't see taking a backup quarterback that early, no matter how good.
Yeah, for sure. And dude, Gurley makes me so nervous. He was on I had him cross off. I'm not taking him, but he could lead the league in rushing and touchdowns again, just as easily. I can't sleep at night knowing my running back, my number 3 pick overall would have like arthritic knees. So that's terrifying to me. You're a better man if you can stomach it and it works out. Well done. Well played, sir. All right.
The next guy, is he new?
Oh, no, it's me. It's me. Do I start with me? Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm going to talk about myself. Holy moly. The draft kind of unfolded how I enjoyed it. I was really having fun with my draft. My plan, though, got thrown into a monkey wrench when Ryan took Deshaun Watson in the 3rd. I had traded for an extra 4th, and I was going to jump on Deshaun Watson with the 2nd, 4th round pick. So I kind of pivoted a little bit and went defense there. And now I'm telling you this long story. But then things kind of worked out when no one was taking quarterbacks. Nate took Baker, but then no one took quarterbacks for a while. And then there in the 7th round for me was last year's number 2 league scorer, Matt Ryan. So that was my favorite pick. I really lucked into that. I also feel like I'm enjoying my 16th round pick, Malcolm Brown. I actually think he's the handcuff to Todd Gurley, and you heard how I feel about Todd Gurley. So I think he's gonna get some work for me. So I'm happy about those picks amongst others. So
I put Matt Ryan down as well. I had a hard time in one league of mine between Breeze and Ryan. Actually, last year in this league, I ended up with Drew Brees and Matt Ryan. They were both going crazy. He threw for a ton of yards last year. Obviously, has one of the best wide receivers. And then Calvin Ridley coming in. So yeah, absolutely. Kind of a no-brainer. So
Do you mean Julio?
Huh?
Do you mean Julio?
Julio, yeah, he's one of the best wide receivers.
You have Ridley, so I thought you were giving yourself a little pat on the back there.
No.
It was not meant to be. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Julio is should have been the implied as one of the best wide receivers. So yeah, I put Matt Ryan there, 7th round. Didn't have to wait on him to try and get him as a keeper because he's in that older. He's older, but he's still getting it done at a very high level. So yeah, great pick by you.
Sure, thank you. The one I don't know what happened. I think I was listening to a podcast or something where they were really hyping up Kalen Ballage. I started calling him Ball Age the more like I watched him throughout the preseason after I drafted him. And then Miami goes ahead and trades away Laramie Tunsil, so that just makes it even a worse pick. So I don't know. My 6th round pick, Kalen Ballage, it's kind of a blah. I can't like even like fantasize myself starting him unless like all hell breaks loose on my team and there's there's plane crashes and like mass like diseases break out in the league. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But that pick I'd kind of like to have back. Let's see really fast. What would I do instead? I mean, Sammy Watkins would be fun. Or Ridley would have been fun. Anyway, moving on. Anybody. So Kalen Ball Age. And in fact, I think if you were at the draft, like the pick like turned green around the box for like 15 minutes after it. It was just kind of telling me like puke. This is a puke pick. So my bad. Anyway, moving on.
So yeah, I actually went a little farther down. Alexander Madison, taking a handcuff guy when you had other needs on the team. You didn't have your full starters yet. Like you still could have used a DB. I know you're not a huge defensive guy. I know that, but there still was good players out there that are going to present weekly value. Get you 6, 7, 8 tackles a game that were still there. So drafting a guy that's to me going to be just a change of pace type of guy. We'll see. We'll see obviously how it goes. You have Dalvin Cook, so maybe you wanted to lock down that handcuff, but I think probably could have waited there. So that's where I went.
Can I have a rebuttal to that? Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had Goody like whispering in my ear about handcuffs. He was like next to me. And I'm glad that you said I'm not a big defensive guy because my goal going in was to take one linebacker early, and then I didn't have Watson, so I went with 2 with Wagner and Roquan. So I'm pretty pumped about that kind of a turn, change of identity and throw that monkey wrench into what you guys think what I'm going to do, and now I didn't do it.
I know you're
anyway,
big
but then
Roquan,
DBs can go away. All right, talk about Ben.
We'll talk about Ben. Ben unfortunately couldn't make it to the draft. Great turnout for the draft, by the way.
Hey, well done.
Yeah, 10 out of 12. Obviously, Phil never comes. So.
And can we talk about the venue? I've never seen. Well, we've had some good food in the past. Like the pulled pork that Nate serves is always excellent. The pizza here is pretty good. But man, that spread at Mike's house, well done, sir. Good job.
Well,
pause the video and start clapping right now.
That was all.
Okay, go ahead.
That was all Katie. Yeah. I was out of town. She took care of it. She was very excited. I'm glad everybody made it out. Should have been plenty of room. Was it Dom that needed a blanket?
It was a little chilly. Yeah.
But no, I'd still take a little chilly over that apartment we drafted in the one time. But we've graduated.
We're older now. We're more mature.
Yes, we are. Okay, so talking about Ben. For his pick, and I know he was doing it remotely, so I don't know how his attention was. But I like the pick of Jalen Samuels in the 10th round. If you look at his touches, similar to James Conner, it's basically the same player. So if they want to get him involved, and if Conner gets dinged up, that's a guy that you could put in. Remember they had D'Angelo Williams there for a couple of years. If he was going to play for Le'Veon Bell, you knew he was going to score points. So I feel like that is a guy that could be a value pick. And then also I put another one for this is me. I have a man crush on this guy, Kevin Byard, who's a safety from Tennessee. He's criminally underrated. One of the best players in the league coming into his third year. Just a fantastic player. To get him in the 13th, he's so good, and I wish more people knew about him because he's one of the best at his position.
Nice, awesome. Isn't this fact about Jalen Samuels? Isn't the Steelers running back coach, wasn't that Jalen Samuels like position coach in college? I believe that is true.
Yeah, and to have that familiarity for sure.
But I'm also cheering against James Conner, who I gave away last year. And so
you did. I think we both
Congrats,
thought Bell. Watching the old video, I think we both thought Bell was going to be back.
Yeah, congrats, Phil. You got me there. Okay, let's see. What I like the most about I had Jalen Samuels as my second like for Ben. I like the way he hammered running backs after taking Julio. I think Julio, he went best player, and Julio is an argument for best player in that conversation. Because no one was taking Zeke except celebrating Drunk Nate right now. Good job. But my favorite pick, he hammered running backs, and I like that he got good value with James White late in the third. James White's one of those like top 12 PPR players who like there's games when he gets like 12 catches a game, I feel like. And 50 yards rushing. They feature him, and they're not afraid to get James White the ball. So I think he'll be a starter for you. I like your combo of Dak and Cam. I also like your pick of your DB pick of Jonathan Abram, your 9th round pick. It was, and so like locking up a really talented safety DB. It's almost like you knew you wouldn't be able to keep Jamal Adams. Wink. I'm not trying to spread controversy or create anything. So Ben had a solid draft, dude. Everybody had solid drafts, so well done.
Yeah, there wasn't any like too obvious like negatives to me. There's only one in the whole draft that I was like, yeah, that's not a good pick, and we'll touch on that later. But case in point, this is one of the best players of our generation. I actually have Julio Jones here as the negative, and you'll have to bear with me.
It's okay.
Because Julio's unbelievable. He had an incredible year last year. Gonna have another
instead. No?
This is, to me, Julio caused a trickle down effect, which is going to hurt his team later because
all right.
because he already had wide receiver. Running back was the bigger need. I felt like there was a couple guys there, even Le'Veon Bell, Joe Mixon, Zeke all went right after that. Any of those guys I think could have been a better fit for the team. When he did that, then he started having to go running back heavy, and then ended up with Lamar Miller, who even before he got hurt, I know he's on IR now, but even before he got hurt, if you look at his time in Houston, he's not the player that they expected. That's a very average running back in the 3rd round that became more of a need because he drafted Julio. So that, again, I'm nitpicking. There's not a whole lot of reaches here, for the most part. So that just, to me, if you had to do it over again, if you're Ben, you might go a different direction. Obviously, knowing what we know about Zeke, I think that would have been the pick there.
I think that getting James White late 3rd, dude, I don't know about the rest of the league, but when I took Montgomery in the 2nd round, it was James White, Tevin Coleman, or Montgomery, and then I got all 3 of them because that's just how it worked out. So I think that kind of made up. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I have 2 things I don't like though. Leonard Fournette. And it's more because what he did to me last year. Again, he's a guy like, oh my gosh, I can't stand you anymore. He was like questionable, or I don't know. He always could play for like 8 weeks straight, and then he either did or didn't. And it was a train wreck of a season for me last year. And I blame it all on Leonard Fournette. Thanks a lot, man. The other, just nitpicking too. I said I like Dak and Cam together. If I in the 8th round, if I was going quarterback, I think I would have taken Lamar Jackson instead of Dak. But that's complete nitpicking, and if you like more the Dak style than Lamar style, if you don't, your team's kind of built around having Cam, the running quarterback. So I thought maybe Lamar Jackson could have been in play there instead.
The upside.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
All right. Hey, Phil, let me find you on my notes. Phil got Le'Veon Bell in the 1st round. I think pretty sure you were targeting the whole time. I reached out to Phil about moving up. Because I thought maybe he would like some of the players who would have been there for him. But I think you got the guy. So that's kind of a pick I am saying nice pick for. But I just talked about it with Ben. My favorite pick from you was Lamar Jackson. I think he could be a potential league winner if he does his thing and stays healthy. So well done.
Yeah, I put Lamar Jackson as well in the 10th. very high ceiling type of guy. Even if he has a bad throwing game, 150 yards, he can still break off a 70-yard run at any time and get you big points. So he's just electric. I loved watching him in college. Didn't know how his game would translate to the NFL. So far, so good there. And then I also put Ben in the 12th. Again, late quarterback value.
I'm sure me too. I did that too.
Question, John, who led the league in passing yards last year? It was Ben Roethlisberger. Everybody knows that Mahomes had 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Roethlisberger threw for almost 5,200 yards. I know he doesn't have Antonio Brown anymore, but
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, God.
Antonio Brown, you may have heard about him. He's doing some things out there in Oakland.
Not much though. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
So yeah, absolutely. So again, this goes back to
we're so funny.
I feel like there was a lot of late quarterback value. It's always a deep position, even in a 12-team league. But to get a guy of that caliber at that pick, you can interchange those guys and play matchups. And because the Steelers definitely better team at home the past like 4 or 5 years. Their road and home splits.
That's
are
Big
crazy.
Ben too. That's Big Ben too.
It's the Saints and the Steelers who are just like they just play totally different at home and on the road. So I like it.
I have to make a redaction. I lied a little bit when I was talking about Ben's pick of Leonard Fournette about how he's the reason my team was a train wreck. A big part of the reason my team was a train wreck was my dislike on Phil's team. Shady McCoy in round 6. When he was drafted, when you drafted him, Phil, he was maybe going to be in the middle of the Bills roster, looking at a role from last year. But now he ends up on the greatest show on turf in Kansas City. So that's such a question mark now. It might turn into a like. I have no idea, but I can't stand him because he spoiled the Avengers ending. Is that true? Do you see that? Do you see that? You went on Twitter? It was just what a terrible person who should never be drafted. That's my dislike, Shady McCoy.
I'm not a big Avengers guy, so I did not see that.
Okay, I'll tweet that out.
But either way, yeah, and McCoy, sure. I actually, coming into the draft, had heard he may be a cap casualty type of cut. Did not know he would end up with the Chiefs, but sounds like they're pretty sold on Damian Williams there, so I can see that. To me, I just put, where's the defense, for me, because he had a lot of depth going. He's drafting bench guy after bench guy, which it's good to be deep at wide receiver, running back, stuff like that, but some of the defensive picks he waited pretty late on and got guys that you're just kind of, because what I've noticed over the past few years, there seems to definitely be a tier of defensive guys that you can pencil in every week because the game's changing. It's more about matchups and speed and, more DBs playing now. You don't have the Lance Briggs of the world, who was one of my favorite Bears. You know what I mean? That type of position doesn't even hardly exist anymore. So, to get a couple of guys earlier on would have been, I think, more prudent to balance out the roster. But again, it's not I didn't single out one particular player. I just felt like, just not because they weren't bad picks that he was making, but could have got starters, whereas instead of bench guys. Anything else to add there?
No, good stuff. He's gonna have a good team this year.
We'll move on to the president as a
fill in the blank.
Seth, and I went with Damian Williams in the second. They weren't 100% but throughout camp, throughout preseason, he just became more and more the guy, and it seems like he's pretty much locked in at that number one in an unbelievable offense. So a second-round pick there. I think we're going to look back at the end of the year and think, why did this guy not go in the top 5 or 6? And that's going to be just a killer pick for him. So, I mean, not at the time when this was drafted a couple weeks ago, nobody was like, whoa, Damian Williams in second. But still, I really feel like he's like a top potential 5 or 6 player.
There's negatives about him. I feel like his age is one reason why he wasn't a top tier player, and he's never had the full workload for a whole season. So there are some question marks, and that's why I picked Darwin later on. I really like him on my squad. So anyway, my favorite pick from Seth was Kenny Galladay in round 4, and more than one people I heard during the draft was, oh, I'm so glad you finally took Galladay, because he's been sitting at like the top of our cheat sheets and just like not crossed off. So finally we could cross him off. You know how good that feels when you have like a whole block crossed off. There's not like a guy sitting there. But dude is that talented. Do some homework and compare like his first, I don't know what it was. I saw a stat, like his first 2 years with Megatron's first 2 years, and like catches and yards and touchdowns are all right there. Galladay's a stud. I tried to trade for him last year. You guys know that story. I ended up with Mike Evans, but that's okay. Galladay's a beast, and you got him in the 4th to pair up with Devontae Adams and Brandon Cooks. We might look back and say Seth's receivers are pretty darn lethal.
I had Galladay down for a minute. Honestly, thought he should have been kept.
Same.
Instead of the trade being made that happened. But again, that's a rookie player. We'll see how that turns out for him. Nothing wrong with Edelman, but I felt like Galladay, especially as a keeper, had more upside.
Can I say the other pick I'm entertained by?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I mean, I don't know if the player is going to be like a super huge blow up player, but I'm very entertained that Seth took Mitch Trubisky. That's so entertaining to me, and I really hope. Can't wait to see you start him on Thursday against the Pack.
He has Rodgers as a keeper. He's a Packers fan, but Rodgers, if you remember, was originally drafted by a Bears fan as well when we still had what's his? I'm spacing on his name now. the assassin.
Oh, Jake?
Jake in the league. He drafted Rodgers and I believe made a deal with Seth, and Seth has had him for a long time.
Or was that Lance? Was it Lance having? Anyway.
Yeah. But I believe it was Jake.
Okay.
Anyways, Galladay was another. So for the negative, I went with Joe Mixon, and I like Joe Mixon as a player. That's a good pick right there. But to me, it's not about this year. It's about last year. We both picked Seth to win last year. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah.
He didn't make a single trade.
Right.
He's right there. He had a great team. You're telling me that you couldn't have traded Joe Mixon this year for a potential ring last year? I think he could have been more aggressive in making moves and threatened more in the playoffs. And to me, that's why I'm like, you don't want to part with a first-round pick because, it's a first-round pick. But Joe Mixon really that good of a player where you don't want to have this on your roster this year where you could have made a move and got somebody else last year to fill that hole of Le'Veon Bell for him. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Which is one of the reasons why we picked him to win. But he was right there, had chances. I feel it could have been more aggressive.
Yeah, it's so funny because I drew the 4th pick in the lottery. I didn't draw it, but I won the 4th pick in the lottery, and I was like, I'm gonna make it. This is awesome. But then all of a sudden Zeke's holding out. Gordon's holding out.
Questions about Gurley.
Questions about Gurley. Yeah, all that stuff. And so when you get to where we're at 7, it's all dried up. You sometimes you have to go with Mixon. Mike and I did not talk about this, but he's on my. I put Mixon for my negative too. I'm just really scared of his offensive line, and he's the only like AJ Green is all beat up. Andy Dalton is not even looked at as a great quarterback anymore. He's the only show in town. So I think teams are going to key on the run game. He's talented enough to have a solid season. He could be an 8 to 10 touchdown guy, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous for him. I don't know. To me, I guess I would have gone Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. But you got a running back, and you have to have a running back. So it's. We're nitpicking, but yeah, Mixon wasn't a guy I was jumping at, obviously, since I took Cook several picks before him. All right. Moving forward.
Yep.
On to Nate Dog 9, the Dirt Balls. Oh my goodness. Let me find you on my list here.
Reigning champ.
Congrats, dude. So looking at Nate, the Zeke pick, you had the guts to make it. That's my favorite pick from you. It sounds like he's signing. And you're gonna get a ton of touches and a ton of catches. And you now have Kamara and Elliott and Kerryon Johnson. Oh boy, don't want to play you. So that's my favorite pick from you.
I have Zeke as well, and the same reason why I didn't like Mixon. Again, Nate also didn't make a trade, but didn't have to. Obviously won it. But that guy, if you look back and say, is he worth not trading a first-round pick? Yes, Zeke is worth that for this year because, like you said, now he's gonna threaten back-to-back with that guy with that stable of running backs there. Not too much more to add there. your negative?
Sure, my negatives. I mean, you already wrapped up with three running backs after the second round. Deion Jones, a linebacker in the third. Was he injured last year? What's Deion's story?
Yeah, he was. Rumor says he's healthy now. I looked at that, but I mean that still feels early to me.
As the second defender off the board, that feels early. But I'm just kind of looking at what's going on. I might have gone with a Rams receiver. Let's see. I think Robert Woods was next. Was there. Otherwise, my dislike for you or question for you, something's making sounds in our place.
That's amazing.
Okay. Anyway, oh, one of my daughter's toys just like ghost play. Anyway, that's really creepy.
I really hope the
speaker
picked it up.
You went Geronimo over MVS. I'm so nitpicking right now by a couple rounds. All my research tells me Valdez-Scantling's the guy to go there. So that's me being negative about your draft. So nice draft if that's what I'm pointing out.
Yeah, to me, I had it's all riding on Baker. He went all in with Baker, and
one quarterback. Yeah, I wrote that down.
Last year I said Watson could make or break it for him. Watson started out slow, but obviously finished strong, had good production, good numbers. Same thing with Baker. There's a lot of hype about Cleveland, obviously, and whether they end up overtaking that division is another thing related to fantasy. So yeah, Baker's his guy. I mean, it's just that's it right there to me. If Baker is worthy of that pick there, then again, he's threatening the league. If not, then he might be scrambling to replace him. Hopefully, it works out. The wide receivers he kept. He's both. I like Godwin. I like Kupp. Both really good players. Godwin, I feel like could make a big jump this year, but again, didn't address wide receiver again until the 10th round. So it's like just. Again, I feel like a very solid team, very good team, but could have been a couple other choices for me. Could have waited, not having to take Baker there. There was a lot of good quarterbacks late. So, it's make or break with Baker Mayfield right now. Anything there?
Oh, I think I did my negative. You did your negative.
Yeah, no, okay.
All right, let's talk about Gilead's Cobra Kai. We have 4 teams left. We're gonna make it.
Yeah, we're gonna do fine. To me, it was Matt Breida. It was a great pick in the 8th round there. Again, McKinnon going down. I know they have a couple guys, but everything I'm seeing, he's kind of separated himself. I like that pick. He may not be like that. He's not going to break out and be like a Pro Bowler or an All Pro, but he's going to give solid production. A guy you can plug in, going to get catches and potential big plays there. So I like that pick for Cobra Kai.
Nice one. My favorite part about his draft was how he started it. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. You're awesome now. Your receivers, you have 3 amazing receivers, and you have the best tight end from the best offense. You're awesome. It did kind of set you up for my negative, which is want me to go negative?
Yeah.
My negative from you, dude, is I don't think you have like a starting running back with like a job, like a full-time starting job. So that makes me nervous. You have good players, but they're all in for sure splits. Breida with Coleman, Miles Sanders with Jordan Howard, Geis and AP, and I can't read my other writing. So I mean that's one way to play it. You went with the 0 running back strategy, which like it works sometimes, but you gotta
that plays into my negative. I put Miles Sanders down as the guy. Do you know the last time that the Eagles had a guy go over 1,000 yards? It was LaShawn McCoy. And ever since then, they've had 4 years with 4 different guys leading the way, and none of them they've been about 800 yards at the most. 3rd round pick on a guy that was drafted in the 2nd round. Great. I mean, yeah, he's probably got potential, but that's not what the Eagles are about. They're not about feeding a guy and giving him. There's not going to be one guy that dominates from week to week. If anything, I see Jordan Howard as a potential guy that could. Because he's a guy that does better with volume. Late in the game, finisher, closer, goal line type of guy. Always been a big Jordan Howard fan, even though I'm not a fan of the Bears when he was with the Bears, but like Jordan Howard a lot. So to me, that was like, yeah, it was too much. Too much there at 3rd. I didn't like it. So yeah, this is where you would have gone now.
Oh, this is where I would have gone now
Yeah.
for a negative.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. So now you can start off the next one.
So now let's talk about Goody. Perfect. 3 left. Goody. Goody obviously is in love with someone, and he went out and got her or him, Saquon. So he made the big trade. He got Saquon Barkley. If that's what you want, 1.1, you go out and do it and you make it happen. Good job, Mike. My favorite pick by him, though, I might have a little man crush on Kyler Murray, and you did what you had to do, and you took him at 8.3. I think he was an 8.1 worthy guy. I don't blame what happened at 8.2 on Mike. I think that's a great pick too. But Kyler Murray, if you don't keep Baker Mayfield, you better find it. Obviously you didn't keep him for a reason, and you targeted Kyler Murray. So that was my favorite pick by you.
Yeah, Saquon. There's a clear number one in this draft this year. It's Saquon, and then it's everybody else. To me, there's obviously some no-brainers there, but Kamara's a keeper. Christian McCaffrey, great, but I worry about his volume catching up and maybe touchdowns potentially, but I would have definitely taken McCaffrey too. But yeah, he went all in, pushed all the chips, and then he got back an 8 and turned that 8 into TJ Hawkinson as a keeper, which was the last of the first keeper round. That's the guy who could flirt with 75, 80 catches, 1,000 yards, and 8 or 9 touchdowns. I see him being the starting tight end on his team before it's all done, and potentially a keeper. So you got to be very happy with that return. He traded a first, second, and fourth, but he capitalized on that 8th. So Saquon and Hawk, I love it. I would have made that trade. I think it worked. I think both guys are happy with the trade, which is unusual. Like to say, nobody won the trade. But I think both guys are happy with what they got. So, yeah, clearly.
Right on. And I touched on it. Just my kind of negative, not keeping Baker Mayfield, who's like he's in like the dark horse MVP conversation. He's like the kinkiest one of the like hot picks. So I was really surprised when you didn't keep him. But obviously, maybe you had your eyes on Kyler, and you knew you could get him at 8.3. So there you go.
My negative. First of all, you were the last one to show up to the draft. You had a good reason. But then the first one to leave.
Oh,
also
first to come, first to leave.
Also, pay the man. Come on. Get your money out there. And somebody's got to say it. There's a lot of red on that sheet. Hopefully that's been taken care of. I have not checked.
Is it on the spreadsheet?
But yeah.
Okay.
But let's settle up there. Nate puts up with a lot. Let's not complicate things anymore. For your actual pick, though, I went with Eddie Jackson. I know you're a Bears fan. Eddie Jackson is a great player. He's not going to score 3 touchdowns again, I don't believe. I like guys that are consistent with tackles. He had 41 solo tackles last year. His numbers are going to, as far as like his production is going to go down. Just felt like, let's draft another Bear is what I felt like there. Again, great player. Nobody wouldn't want him on their team, but he's not going to score 3 touchdowns again. So
some guys in our league are threatened when players take Bears. And I feel
it's the same 2 guys that have all the Bears. And I just think it's I personally don't draft.
They feel threatened.
I don't feel threatened at all. And then, okay, so now we'll move over to me, and I'll
tell us about your team.
All right. First of all, I'm not thrilled with Devontae Freeman in the first round, but he is that guy that could, if the coach says he's healthy, he's having fun, he looks good. Hopefully he's back to the form he was about 3 years ago. But that could make or break my draft there. But my favorite pick, and it wasn't close, and this is where I'm glad Lance isn't playing anymore, because we typically have the same type of man crushes. But you wanted a high tackle volume defensive player. I got Devin White, who to me was the best defensive player in the draft as far as fantasy purposes go. He's going to step in for Quan Alexander, and they're not going to miss a beat. They're already basically saying he's the quarterback of the defense, and he's just going to go out there and wreck things. And he'll be on my team for probably 10, 12 years.
Boom. 10, 12 years.
10 or 12 years.
Let's make this league last that long, guys. This podcast is brought to you by Crush. Let's bring that sponsorship money in. I put let's see. I think Latavius Murray's going to score 7 to 11 touchdowns this year. So that was a really nice pick. Really like Devin White. We already talked about that. I think you got a starting receiver also in Emmanuel Sanders. Didn't you have him last year?
I did, yeah.
I think you got him in the 16th round.
Yeah.
Hopefully he stays healthy for
Way
you.
down.
I saw you actually have him slotted in to start week 1 and however you set up your lineup. So I think those are all really good values.
Yeah, not having a third or fourth round pick, I was thrilled to get Ertz in the second round because after Kelsey and Kittle are gone, obviously Kittle's a keeper for you. Ertz is the next guy, and then it's a big drop off. So I was happy to get him there because there's no way I was getting him after that. And yeah, happy to get Murray there, even Calvin Ridley. Another iffy one to me. I've only had Russell Wilson on my team one other time, and he kind of let me down. So it's like he's already got banged up guys. So yeah, you know what I mean. It could be, but yeah, for sure. Love Devin White. For my negative about myself, I've actually already dropped this guy, even though he's on a new team already again. But Carlos Hyde, kind of was just like, I got to get in on this Chiefs bandwagon here with their offense. I saw him as maybe a goal line type of guy. Then, like, reading shortly after, basically he was all but done and off the team. He's now in Houston, I believe, but It's his fifth team in 2 years. There's not much left in the tank there. But I've already moved on from him. That was my negative.
Nice one. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of point out you took Zach Ertz in the second, and I know you love him, and it's a good pick, and he's a great player, and he's going to catch a lot of passes. I think there's a lot of points on the board from Tyreek Hill and Kerryon Johnson that got picked right after him, like almost immediately, and even Keenan Allen too. So if Zach Ertz goes from like a 110 catch guy to an 80 catch guy and touchdowns drop a little bit, I think you might be kicking yourself if like Tyreek blows up again or Kerryon Johnson does what the league thinks he's going to do.
I'm used to having Gronk. I don't know what to do without a tight end. So
yeah, I understand. Cool. All right, hey, White Thunder, ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's finish this off. White Thunder, you swung for the fences with Antonio Brown and Melvin Gordon with your first 2 picks. You also that could turn into a catastrophic failure if is Antonio Brown going to play? What's his helmet situation?
Sounds like
who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't think Melvin Gordon's going to play. I heard they're not going to talk about contract till after the season. He's pursuing his own trade, so that'd be crazy. Let's see. The pick I like though, I really liked your 8th round pick, not your first one, but I like the Justice Hill pick. I thought that's an 8th round pick where you're investing in a young running back on a run first team. So that I really like that pick. I was hoping he'd fall down to me there.
I went with Rivers in the 11th. Again, just another guy that's going to put up 4,500 plus yards and keep getting it done. Didn't reach for him. Waited. Got a guy that's going to start pretty much every week and be a solid player.
Here's the thing. You had 8.1, the first keeper pick. I think that would have been an awesome time to take Kyler Murray. He is on a team that's supposedly going to revolutionize their college run and gun offense. I think he could throw 50 to 60 times a game, and he's an athlete. He's going to get tons of points. He might be like Mike Vick 2.0 as a better passer. I don't know what Paris Campbell does or who he is, so I wish you would have taken Kyler. I would have been really excited about your team.
Yeah, that's something that I think will change. I think he'll adjust. This is his obviously first year in the league. But I just went with Melvin Gordon. To me, even if he was going to come back and play, he's going to take a couple weeks to get ready. He's a very nice player, a late first, early second round pick normally, even without the question marks. But obviously, I don't think he's playing. If he does, it's going to be late in the year. And there's other guys. He does have Eckler, so that made it a little more easy to do that. But felt like there was, again, could have gone with my guy Ertz or Kerryon or Tyreek Hill or Keenan Allen or any of those guys, pretty much, and been a lot more happy there. So, yeah.
Hey,
well done.
Well, we made it through the teams. We made it through the draft. Take a break. Come back and see us again. We're going to talk about some NFL stuff, our picks for the season, individual awards, and how we see the standing shaping out. We're going to go. What are you going
to do? On my notes, I stuck with fantasy, and I want to just say who I think is going to win the division.
Oh,
make the playoffs
we're predicting the BFL
for BFL.
Good grief! All right, let's do that.
Do you have?
I jumped the gun.
Do you have that in your notes? Okay,
Sure.
I'll go first. In the infantry division, I went in order. I went 1, 2, 3, 4 of how my projected finish. I went with Nate, Phil, Dom, John. I believe this is the deepest of the divisions. It could honestly go several different ways. Nate's going to be up there regardless. Even if he has a couple guys not perform to level, he's still got enough studs in there to carry him. He's going to be right there in the end, unless just he has an absolute terrible luck this year. Phil was a guy kind of sneak up on me because, when you're drafting remotely, and he's drafting right in the middle, so you're not necessarily paying attention. And then all of a sudden you look at his roster, it's like, oh, this is shaping out pretty nice here. I like his starting lineup, like the high ceiling pick with Jackson. And then Dom has obviously some of his keepers there. And then in any other division, you would not be fourth, but that's what I put.
I got bad news. What? Nate and I are in the same division.
That's what I have on the
league. I don't think he set it up yet.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry,
I didn't think so either. All right.
So. Yeah. So I can't make a guess on. I don't. Well, let's not. I don't know who's in my division.
Yeah. Okay. As far as
were you about to pick me to be the champion though?
No,
you can say that. You can say that if you want to.
Because I just went with what it is on the.
Yeah, I know it's. I don't think it's set up yet.
Okay.
Because I'm in the division with Seth. It's me, Seth, Dom.
Okay.
Cut that.
Right. We'll just skip over that then.
We'll skip over that part. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Well, let's go into the NFL then.
Folks. Sure. You want to talk about teams or people?
Let's do teams. I feel like team success has a lot to do with the awards won, so we'll see where each other's at. Start with the AFC in the East. It's the Patriots. There's not much to talk about there to me. Do you feel like anybody will threaten?
Yeah, Buffalo. I think they have a phenomenal defense. Josh Allen's developing.
Josh Allen. Yeah, okay.
And I will take Buffalo to challenge New England.
You're going to take Buffalo to win that division?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. I thought that was going to be the quick one.
There you go. Moving forward. I'm just going to say teams. I'm not going to describe much.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk about the AFC North.
Yep.
Perfect. Pittsburgh Steelers.
I got the Ravens. I like their defense. I like Jackson. Like their I like a lot. I like the Ravens.
I like the Ravens too. I'm nervous about Lamar Jackson staying healthy though. AFC South. Jags.
I got the Texans. Yep. I like Texans more. Picked them last year too. West got the Chiefs. I don't think you're gonna pick.
I picked San Diego.
You didn't. All right, I have the Chargers as the wild card and the Steelers as the wild card. So it's not crazy those picks, but yeah, he's all right.
What? All right. Moving forward, do you want to talk about NFC then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, or wild cards.
I have Chargers and Steelers as my wild cards.
Got it. New England and the Chiefs.
Okay.
So we're really close.
All right. So
yeah.
All right. Okay. In the NFC East, I have the Eagles.
And I have Dallas taking it'll be a close race. I have Dallas.
Okay. In the West, I have the Rams.
I also have the Rams.
In the North, I have the Bears.
Same.
And then I have the Saints in the South.
Same.
For wild card, I have the Cowboys.
And I have Philly.
And I have the Packers.
And I have the Vikings.
The Packers will probably not make the playoffs. They fooled me twice. I don't want to be fooled.
How could they not make the playoffs so many years in a row then? Like they have to. Here's the thing. I'm not, you know me. Yeah. But I feel like the Packers literally have to make the playoffs or what's going to happen in Green Bay?
I feel like there's...
How many years? It's been 2 years in a row or 3?
I feel like there's more talented teams out there right now.
I do too.
I feel like there's some changes that need to be made. Like just even the atmosphere at the games they've even talked about it in the it's not loud, it's not boisterous. There's not much of a home field advantage other than the cold, and that doesn't help an offensive minded team like Green Bay. So
yeah.
Hopefully the free agents help with their defense, but I don't know. That's just all hope for me, the Packers. But and then I didn't break down the playoffs, but I did go with my conference champions. I have the Chiefs facing the Eagles, with the Eagles winning it all for the second time in 3 years.
Okay. I picked the I got it down to the championship game. I picked the Saints traveling to Chicago, and the Bears would beat the Saints at home. and I picked the Jaguars traveling to San Diego. And I have the Chargers getting to the Super Bowl in the AFC, and the Bears over the Chargers in the Super Bowl. Homer.
But
it's true.
That's more Homer than Packers as a wild card pick. But
seriously,
all right. So if you were going to pick an MVP based on those, who would you pick?
Oh, the MVP, Patrick. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to win the MVP for the next 15 years until he retires.
Just to be different, I did pick Wentz. I feel like if the Eagles are going to be as good as I think they are, then Wentz has to be that guy. So much luck to him staying healthy.
Good job. Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year, I didn't overthink it. I went with Khalil Mack.
For your Super Bowl champion Bears. Return of the Mac. Yes, I agree.
Khalil Mack, mess, by the way.
Khalil Mack is the Defensive Player of the Year. And for the Offensive Player of the Year, again, Patrick Mahomes is in that spot for me.
I went with Saquon. I just didn't want to pick the same person. Could have been Mahomes again, but Saquon, I was not sold on him. I was like, I don't think his game will change. He is everything that he's supposed to be. He is fun to watch. It's crazy what he does to grown men and athletes of that caliber. And so, yeah, I went with Saquon.
Nice. My Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I think I know where you're going here.
Yeah, I think Kyler Murray is just gonna pile up stats. He might have a lot of interceptions too, but he's gonna pile up stats. And I think that Arizona is gonna give some teams problems. There'll be a lot of shootouts. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, there wasn't a Saquon type guy this year. There wasn't a Julio Jones, some wide receiver running back. So I went with Kyler as well. Thought that was a pretty easy one. And then I want to jump in here and say Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Devin White because that's my guy.
Nice.
And I think he just has the most opportunity.
I think I'm taking the rookie pass rusher Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's gonna have some impressive statistics on that defense with a very, very good rejuvenated defense.
They have to love that he fell to them where he did, right?
Because that's the type of team they are. That's their identity, and they got that player. Yeah. I saw him in preseason too, and he's the real deal. I thought so.
What a big upgrade over Fowler last year. And Fowler's a fine player, but Josh Allen is a beast. How do you feel?
I feel awesome.
Good, me too.
How do you? Yeah, you feel good.
Yeah, okay, I do. I think we should make a friendly little wager about the Bears-Packers game. How about Orange Crush?
Absolutely.
Or grape, if you prefer.
How about orange? Orange works. Orange works. Perfect.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Talk to you soon.
Love you.
I don't.